Welcome back, folks. So your 11 to 1 session, idea development on generating ideas. Today we're going to be looking at something that we call anatomy of a font. So have a think about what anatomy means and what anatomy of a font might be. We are in week 6, as you know by now from seeing this morning. Please make sure you've registered. Some folks still not registered on the videos. I know this, even though I've recorded these in advance, there's always a couple that haven't registered. Please check that you have registered today. Be here, be on time, stay on track and be professional. I understand if between the 9 to 11 session and the 11 to 1 session you want to take 10-15 minutes break, that is absolutely fine. I thoroughly advise it. Look away from your screen for a little bit, go and make yourself coffees or something like that. Get yourself ready for this session when you come back. Stay on track and be professional, folks. As always, stay on task, stay for the entire session, ask for help if needed. Sign the register. I need 100% your attention if I'm talking. Keep all the conversation relevant and keep them to the replies of each slide. Don't start new conversations. Make the most of your time each session and back up all your work all the time, every time, as many locations as you possibly can. Don't let your hard drive fail and you not have backed up your work. I regularly back up my work. When I do make all these lesson plans, I back it up to at least 2 different locations. There will be people whose flash drives fail, so please back up all of your work. Today, the aims of this session is going to try to develop the understanding of the anatomy of a font and terminology relating to the anatomy of a font. Different parts of a font, different things, what they mean. You should create a list of definitions related to typographical terms. You should create a list of definitions related to typographical terms and give explanation relating to different elements of a font. And you could, if you're going for 5 numbers in the bonus ball, create a list of definitions related to typographical terms, illustrate each term and give annotated explanation relating to different elements of a font. So I'm going to be looking at the anatomy of type definitions and examples. 3 exclamation marks really shows that I mean it. So what do we mean by the anatomy of type? What do we mean by the anatomy of a type? Give me your opinion. Don't just go and copy paste something off the internet. That's not going to help you learn. It's not going to show me what you think as well. I want to know exactly what you think rather than typing it out. What do you know by or think we mean by the anatomy of type? Okay, you've got 5 minutes to do this. Just give me a quick couple of sentences. Bang it through to me on the chat, please, in DM. That's really appreciated. What do we mean by the anatomy of type? 5 minutes starting now. Okay, folks, our assessment criteria. Again, we're looking for generally competent for the pass, clear and effective for merit, and accomplished and thorough for distinction. This will give you these assessment criteria. I know there are still people not reading through them. I'm going to start testing you on these because I want to know if you have an idea of what's being written. So yeah, I'm going to start testing you on these as to far as what's on the pass, what's merit, what's distinction. Okay, right then. Okay, I'll give you a chance to have a little look at them now, but in class shortly we're going to start looking at what, it's making sure it's completely in your head. What is a pass, what's a merit, and what's distinction? Okay, health and safety again then, folks. 7 minutes. What should a font be if used in the workplace? Maybe an appropriate example. Have you got an appropriate example of a font? Show me the font. And what should a font be if used what should a font be? Is used. I don't see why I've put is used. That's so bad grammar. Please do not copy my grammar. That is awful. What should a font be if it's used on a motorway for signage? What should it be? I'll give you a little help with this one. There's a font called Motorway Font by 1958, created by Jock Kinnear and Margaret Calvert. Fantastic font. Motorway, a full typeface, 60 years on, or probably more than that now, isn't it? Yeah, 62 years, yeah. So, comes in different sizes: regular, semi-bold, bold, italic, semi-bold, italic, and bold italic. But what I want to know is what should a font be if it's used on a motorway for signage? Okay, you have 7 minutes. Go. Right, okay, so we're moving on to anatomy of a font. So let's have a look at the anatomy of a font. Each part of a separate font has all different names related to it. So as we see, a good example of this is on a lowercase g, on some lowercase g's. I can't remember which font this is, that's the lowercase g of, but you'll see it has something called an ear. The ear is written in the blue. So it is written in the blue, is highlighted in the blue. This is what we call an ear. And we have all different other things, like a bowl, an ascender, descenders, all this sort of thing. These are the things that we're going to be looking at today. So, the anatomy of a font is every single different piece of a font, what goes to making up that font or that letter shape. So, like we see here, the definition for ear is the small stroke that projects from the top of the lowercase g, and we can see that that is called an ear. So, for today's first main task, I want you to find definitions for a list of anatomical terms. You have 20 minutes to find me definitions for each of these. Actually, 20 minutes seems a little bit tight. I'll give you half an hour for these. You have half an hour to find definitions for all of these: a stem, a bowl, an ascender, a descender, counter, an opercounter, serif, terminal, tail, link, baseline, x-height, spur and spine. You have half an hour to find me definitions for these. You save them in a document called Anatomy of a Font. And also, if you'd like to copy and paste them to me, that would be really, really appreciated, so I can see that you've done it. But save these in a document that you can later upload to your blog. The document doesn't have to be uploaded to your blog, but in the later task, what you should do in the text part of your blog is when you're uploaded the images that we're going to create in a bit, then you're going to be able to put these also in the text part. So tell me that you know exactly what the definitions are for each of these items. Okay, you've got 30 minutes, not 20 as stated, 30 minutes starting now. Right, okay folks, for the rest of today's session, please choose at least 3 of these terms and create illustrations to show these terms of anatomy. So, these illustrations, you can do them in whatever program you want. You can do them online, you can do them as sketches. If you do them as sketches in pen and paper, then please take a photo of it that you can then upload to your blog. What I mean by showing illustrations to show these terms of anatomy are things like this. So if you wanted to show what an ear was, you might show the ear very sort of like zoomed in like this, and then a little bit of text by the side of it that shows, you know, a small stroke extending from the upper right side of the bowl of a low also appears in the angled or curved. Yeah, that's really, really bad grammar. I didn't produce that, just let me say. So that's an illustration. It's illustrating the part or the definition of the term. Okay. For N, something like this, showing where the upper bowl lies. It looks like a shoulder. You could do an illustration like this, or something like for ascenders and descenders. You could do maybe something like this. So ascender is a vertical stroke that extends upwards over the x height. And then you might want to show your illustrations showing the letter on one side and then showing a brief illustration to illustrate your point on the other side. Yeah, like I said, you have the rest of this session to complete at least 3 of these terms and create illustrations either digitally or on paper that you can then photograph and upload to your blog later. When you upload the 3 illustrations to your blog, I want you to put your definitions in the text. Okay, put your definitions in the text for that specific illustration as well. Okay, thanks folks, I'll let you complete that now. For the session remainder, please come back to the end of the session at the end of the session for the very last bit for the plenary. Okay, thank you folks. Okay, give me 4 things that you didn't know before today. Send them through to me on the chat in your plenary. I want to know 4 things that you didn't know before today. Okay, thank you, and that ends our 11 till 1 session. Cheers folks.